All right, and welcome to another episode of Sports Biz from an agent's perspective with your host Zila, aka Chester Mbekela. All right, I hope everyone's had a nice week. It's a beautiful Sunday out in Fujisawa, Tokyo, Japan. And yeah, man, today we're gonna have an interesting chat. But before we go into the business of sports and everything, I'm just going to run a promotion quickly for our new platform, social network platform called Limitless Athlete Membership. All right. And it is available on www.limitlessathlete.net. That's a website for our social network platform. All right. So introducing to you Limitless Athlete Membership. So you may ask yourself, what is Limitless Athlete Membership? So it is basically a social network platform that will aim to connect players, football players, soccer players, soccer coaches, as well as clubs as well. All right. And how the platform works is that each party, each individual can sign up on the platform for free. All right. And once you've signed up on the platform, you have to create a profile. Now, while creating this profile, it's very important that you actually make sure that you have your contact details available. Because this is not one of those social media platforms that you're going to be allowed or be able to DM. When I created this platform, I did it on purpose that I want the person, while creating their profile, on the about section, to put their contact details so that them and the other party can contact each other off the platform. The platform is just there to present the person's contact information. Otherwise, I just wanted to go the other route, the other route while creating this social media platform. And again, just shortly, I just want to apologize for, a few words of mine sounding American, living in Japan is they use mostly American English. And a lot of the people I interact with here in Japan are usually from the US. So I sometimes catch a bit of their lingo that instead of saying route, they say route, Instead of saying data, they say data. So sometimes I get caught in between. I get caught in a crossfire. So yeah, apologies to anyone that thinks I've gone and switched up my accent. No, that's not the case. It's just when you spend so much time with people from the US or Canada, your pronunciation also ends up changing. But anyway, back to the promotion. So the platform basically allows all three parties to sign up and connect, and sign up is 100% free. And then once they've signed up, they can view and follow each other's profiles. So that's how they're going to be able to get in contact with one another, is that they can be able to follow each other. And, from a player's side, it's very important that you make sure that you have images, that display that you're a football player, and also have, video footage to prove that you can play. And if you're a coach, I guess just having your contact details and also upload some images of you, coaching in the field of play. All right. For a club, the only thing that's important is just uploading images of your club facilities, your location, and also, I guess, just a few of your players and the team's logo, just so, players or coaches can know that, you guys are a legit establishment. Okay. So this is a social network I've created for all three parties. And the most important thing is that as much as this is a platform that caters to predominantly semi-professional or amateur football players, coaches, and teams, professional teams and professional players and professional coaches are more than welcome to use the platform as well. The more the merrier. We don't only aim to make this about football only. This is also a platform that can actually serve rugby teams as well. Semi-professional rugby teams and amateur rugby teams. As a person who comes from a rugby background, I know how there are already existing platforms that advertise, vacancies overseas. So our platform is also aiming to do the same, where we get to advertise overseas teams looking for players, and also have players on our database that are looking to connect with clubs as well. So this platform is also open to rugby teams, rugby coaches, and rugby players as well, semi-pro and amateur, to get on the platform, sign up, and use our platform. All right. And then for players now, whether football or rugby, that are looking to get premium services or upgrade, there is an option. We do have membership plans and an online course to take as well. So if guys feel like they want to upgrade the service, they're more than welcome to purchase a subscription, and then they will be dealing with myself, who's a registered sports agent, in doing things like creating, resume, assisting with video footage, how to have it well planned out, constructing a well thought out email to market yourself to the teams, and also, rugby players and football players, and also creating gym programs along with nutritional plans. All right. As a former sportsman, I know a little something about, following a good, strict gym program and a nutritional plan, and how this actually, affects and enhances your performance on the field. All right. So those services are available on our premium membership plans. And then the other option for guys now who want to, improve themselves off the field, they are more than welcome to take an online digital marketing course. If this is something that you feel is your thing as an athlete or as a coach, I would encourage you to take it, because on the online digital marketing course, we teach things like web design, where learners can learn about web designing, building websites. We also teach about social media, advertising, social media marketing, social media content creation. So this is a way that you can know that your Facebook or your Instagram isn't only for social purposes. You can actually use it as a business service. All right. You can run paid advertising campaigns for small businesses or medium businesses. So those are the skills that we teach, is how to use social media in a business format. All right. Not just posting, but also how to run a well thought out advertising campaign. All right. Paid advertising campaign. We also teach about Google advertising as well, which is almost like an extension of social media advertising. We teach about search engine optimization, which is an important skill to learn in the tech world, because there are so many websites out there. All right. So when you learn search engine optimization skills like, blogging and getting your website to rank highly on Google, it's an important skill, because that will enable you to be found by users or potential customers that are looking for services or products that you may be offering. So that is an important skill to learn. SEO is so important, because in this tech generation that we're living in all honesty, so many companies, so many businesses have websites, your competitors basically. And learning SEO skills is a way that you can have an edge on your competition and give you an opportunity to be found by, your potential customers. Okay. All right. And then the last skill that you can learn is sort of like an advanced skill to web designing, which is designing websites with streaming platforms, video streaming platforms. Okay. This is one of the most, sought after skills currently, because when you learn how to build video streaming platforms with your website, you can create your own version of Netflix. You can create your own version of a streaming platform like YouTube or Twitch. All right. So this is a skill that is definitely worth learning. And again, these are optional choices on our platform. If guys or girls, ladies, if you feel that you want to learn a skill outside of your sport, all right, it's a very important skill. And learning a skill, off the field, man, it's one of the most beneficial things, because it sort of gives you purpose once your playing career is over. All right. It's not about whether you retire poor or rich or whatever as a sportsman. It's about, finding another passion once the game is done. So that's why we created the online digital marketing course. And I am a graduate of an online digital marketing course because when I was retiring as a sportsman, even though I had studied marketing as a degree and also at master's level, I also took an additional online digital marketing course, and it totally, changed my life. I learned the skills that I'm offering on the course that I'm offering. I learned web design. I learned social media advertising and content creation. I learned SEO. And I also learned, building video streaming platforms. So this is my way of sort of paying it forward, to anyone who would like to learn these skills. All right. And they are all available on our website for the social network platform, Limitless Athlete Membership. And the website is www.limitlessathlete.net. All right. Check it out. When you're on the homepage, there's actually a demo video that can show you how to sign up and what features we have on our platform. Okay, so good luck, and yeah, man, I hope you become a member. To athletes, coaches, and teams, I'm looking forward to having you guys as members on the platform. All right, okay, so now we're going to move on to our next segment of the show, where we're going to talk about our topic for today is FIBA. All right, we're going to talk about FIBA, the Federal International Basketball Association. Okay, and we're basically going to celebrate the fact that they've pretty much brought the agents testing back. So exciting, man. So exciting. Because I don't know if any of you listened to the first episode of the podcast, but I literally talked about how, I was on my way to basically becoming a FIBA agent, and all of that was halted by the pandemic, basically. So it's good to see that the licensing has made a return, right? And it just feels so good to be sharing this information because, again, before I go more into the FIBA thing, I thought I'd take this time to also celebrate that this is our 10th episode of our podcast, Sports Biz from an Agent's Perspective. Our 10th fucking episode. With this podcast, man, I aim to celebrate every single milestone. So just to make it to 10 episodes of providing content, is a blessing, and I'm extremely happy about that. I feel fortunate for that. Okay, so back to FIBA. So, COVID-19, 2019, was such a good year, coming out of rugby. I was basically in that limbo phase where, I knew I wanted to, become an agent, but it was like, okay, so, what sport to pursue? And as I mentioned in the first episode, that it was after my conversation with one of the good friends I made out here, who is a professional basketball player. He's actually moved away now. He's playing in a different prefecture, different region. I think he's in Mie prefecture, which is about 8 hours from Tokyo. But anyways, me and him, man, we used to meet up, almost every Sunday or sometime during the week after my games, my rugby games, and after his basketball games. We always made it a point to, catch up at least once a week, just to have coffee, Starbucks, just to chat about, what we were going through, as sportsmen, because living in Japan, it was a different experience for the both of us. So it was like we were each other's therapists, so we would air out, our frustrations with our teams or just with the culture and just adjusting to life in Japan, because it was my second year here and I think it was his third year here. So it was just, just sharing as guys. And it was that time where he just put the idea into my head that, listen, you know so much about the business of sports, and I see that you're a bit reluctant to become this rugby agent. He was like, why don't you just choose a different sport? Number one, it's going to actually make you work harder because you didn't play that sport. And he was like, man, if you were to become a basketball agent, I would sign with you for sure. And that's when that light bulb moment hit. And that's when I just became more interested in basketball than what I actually was. Because before that, I was an avid follower of basketball. I've always watched basketball since 1998. I'd been a person who's, enjoyed watching the occasional basketball game, since the days of Jordan, Pippen, Rodman. And then there was, the Kobe era, the Ray Allens. And then it was your LeBrons, Chris Bosh, D Wade, and this new wave of generational talent that's also coming through now, Karl Anthony Towns, your LaMelo Balls, Kelly Oubre's, so all these players have always kept me interested in the game, So it became a no-brainer. I was like, all right, yeah, I'm definitely interested in learning in this, about this business. And I did my research. Google's your friend, man. I got onto the FIBA website. I retweeted all the material that is on there. I did a lot of reading. I got in contact with the CEO, Secretary General of the Federation of Basketball. And we just started, we formed a relationship. And we just started, having these conversations. And I expressed how interested I am, in getting into the business. And that's when they started giving me advice, about the licensing period and, when it takes place and how I should always always check the website for updated, information and all that stuff. So I was consistent with all of that. And that's when I saw that, this agency thing, man, this agent thing, I'm definitely on the right career path, I'm definitely on the right career path, because while doing all of that work, it didn't feel like work to me. I was just enjoying myself, just learning something new. I think that's another thing that also got me excited, was the fact that it was just something totally new, in my life. Because considering the fact that I had been a rugby guy, since 1999, basically. Even though I did play other sports in primary school, but as soon as I got to high school, it was just, track and field or athletics and rugby, track and field and rugby. And then once I finished high school, literally from 2007 until 2019, my life was just literally rugby. If I wasn't playing rugby, I was watching rugby. If I wasn't watching rugby, I was training rugby. So rugby literally became such a huge part of my life. And I'm always going to accredit a lot of the things I've achieved, since finishing school to my pursuit, with my rugby ventures, because it encouraged me to get an education and it encouraged me to see the world just playing a sport that I loved and having fun, making great friends along the way, so those are the things that I just took from it. So now think about it this way. I was going to have to cut ties with all of that, and I don't want to lie, man. I was a little bit anxious when I was coming towards the end of my rugby career, but I knew 2019 was the end. But now I was just in that phase of, I'm literally seizing or letting go of something I've had a part of me since 1999. So from 1999 to 2019, that was a good 20 years that every year I knew that I was going to play rugby. And for the first time after 20 years, I had to come to terms with the fact that after the final game I played, I was going to wake up and I wouldn't have rugby in my life anymore. It was actually quite an emotional, state of mind to be in. I don't want to lie. I did share a few tears or so because it was, the end of an era. So it was quite an emotional time. But then again, now when I started getting this idea about becoming a FIBA agent, I threw myself into it. I went all in. And yeah, I was well on my way, man. I was well on my way. And then COVID, just spanked me in the ass and just put everything on freeze. And I think now that they've made a return, it's definitely something worth checking out again. I do believe that everything happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer that nothing is by accident, Things are always happening simultaneously. I believe that maybe not becoming a basketball agent from the jump was a blessing in disguise, because it was such uncharted and unknown territory that, who knows, maybe I would have blown it as an agent. So I think I had to start with something I was familiar with, by becoming a soccer agent first, because, soccer is pretty much my first love. It is the first sport that I played as a youngster, So I think, when you look at things like that, it sort of puts things into perspective that, okay, maybe it was just COVID-19 happened so that I could learn more about the business side of sport, because I was literally going to enter into a multi-billion, dollar sporting industry, fresh off being an athlete, and who knows, man, I would have made too many rookie mistakes. So I am thankful for that, how can I say, halt or delay, so to speak. But I'm extremely excited now that they're back. So now it's just going to be about just getting in touch with the federation again and just resuming where we left off. And the funny thing is that I didn't actually destroy my study notes. I still have my study notes, man. I was, leading up to when I thought I was going to write the agent's test, I was studying literally every day. Every day I was going through my notes, because it's a multiple choice exam. So I was just making sure that I know everything, fucking word for word. So yeah, I still have the notes. I need to take them out and dust them off and see where the chips lie. It wouldn't hurt to, explore and expand. Which is actually the plan in the long run, is definitely to expand. I don't only want to be a soccer agent. I do have expansion plans. And I think, with the world opening up now, there's no better time than now than to resume, pursuing other sports as well. Just to diversify my client portfolio and everything. And just to make sure that, I'm one of those agencies where athletes of different sports know that, okay, this guy's trustworthy. This is a solid agency that I can work with. This is a guy, or hopefully sometime in the future, I'll start adding on other agents, work with other agents in my agency, hire a few guys, give guys opportunities. I want players coming to that agency to know that this agency just stands for integrity. And this agency just stands for basically creating a life for athletes, not only on the sports field, but also, a life off the field. I know it sounds cliche, and I know it's one of the statements a lot of agencies proclaim, but when you ask yourself, how many of them actually follow through with that? How many of them maintain the relationship once the player has retired and he's no longer bringing in money for them? That's the most important question to ask. So that's the kind of, agent I'm always in pursuit of being, and making sure that one day when I do hire, junior agents coming up, that they buy into that culture as well. All right. And then I guess, just to end the podcast off, I was watching Ballers, a rerun of Ballers, and I was actually listening to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, his speech on the finale, like on the last episode, and how identity is just such a funny thing. You grow up with something, or something is engulfed, in your DNA or in your personality so much that it ends up being a part of your identity. And the weird part is that there's always another level to go, And he goes on to talk about how he's always seen himself as more of a player, and then he had the transition into being, a finance guy for the players. And then, in the end, he even ended up becoming a team owner, and I sort of drew inspiration from that, you know what, there's honestly always another level to go. And to never settle and feel that, okay, once you've reached a certain plight or certain, pedestal or certain level, that this is where it ends for you. That speech just inspired me that there's honestly always another level to go. So I think in this pursuit of being an agent, that's what I'm going to strive for. I once was a player, a sportsman. Now I'm in the agency route. I'm excited where this agency journey is taking me. And I know that one day, who knows, there'll be another level that I can climb up. So those are the exciting things. And honestly, man, that speech, it really moved me. It moved me when I watched it in 2019 when they were wrapping up, the Ballers series. And then when I rewatched it, it moved me the same way. And I'm like, yeah, that's actually what I want for this journey of my life within sports to be as well. Anyway, yeah, so that's some philosophical bullshit I thought I'd share with you guys. Just some philosophical babble. But yeah, man, it's exciting times, guys, Just discovering another side of sport, something which I've been passionate about my whole life. I could never articulate into words for you, how good that feels. It feels amazing. But anyway, thank you once again for tuning in for another episode of Sports Biz from an agent's perspective, episode number 10. All right. It's been a pleasure having you guys stop by. And remember our slogan. We don't only talk sports, we lived it. All right. Have a good rest of the day, rest of the night, whatever time of day it is, wherever in the world you are. Take it easy. Cheers.